Ah,
What are you doing, brother?
it's got a few hairs cut.
You did, man. Looking good, Lochner.
Not so scratchy anymore, huh? Or what do you call it? Scruffy.
See, I need to get a touch up on my color because I'm looking kind of old, bro.
Just grow it long.
Grow it long?
Grow it long, all of it.
Oh,
That's what she said.
I cut it off. I do that. I grow that long. No, my mom's on here, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of your mom, let's give a shout out to Dale. We hear that he started his chemo, so we're going to give you some good healing, positive energy. And, I know you're going to do good and be better quickly.
Absolutely.
Speedily.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right, let's talk about our sponsors. Let's go with it. We've got Full Spectrum CBD. We love the folks over there. Alan and Shannon do great things for us, and we couldn't do the show without them. We appreciate them very much, and their products are phenomenal. I have a lot right over there.
Yeah.
Media Jaw, Jody Gentry and his team working hard to keep that website up and going now. We're going to talk a lot more about that website tonight after the show because there's things you all need to know about when you want to watch the shows that you missed. You're going to have to go there to watch them. And Alexandra Cunningham and her husband Greg are fantastic. We love them. Backbeat Music, thank you
Backbeat.
so very much. We got some fun stuff coming up with Backbeat this weekend.
Oh, cool.
We got Morgan Miles, our friend, coming out to San Angelo this weekend on her Miles of Gratitude tour. And she's going to be over at Backbeat Music in Pecan Creek Farm and Ranch. So that's going to be great.
How cool is that?
Right? I wish you could be out here, bro. Get the team back together again.
I got an emergency alert on my phone earlier telling me we're not allowed to really do anything.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to go anywhere or do anything. Well, I went and got my hair cut. I won't say where because they were supposed to be closed.
Breaking the law.
Yeah.
All right, man. We got
so next week, who do we have? Let's talk about our guests coming up.
We got Brian Wheat from Tesla joining us next week. And then the week after that, oh no, our guest just fell out.
Oh no.
Oh
well.
There he is.
All right, the week after that, well, we can talk about that at the end of the show then.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. Right now, let's bring Zach Bair into the... Let's bring Zach into the fold.
Yes.
Right. Zach.
Get my video going here. There it is.
There you are.
There we go.
What's up, brother?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Excellent.
We're wonderful, blessed. How you doing?
I'm not doing too bad. It's good to see you guys. Good to see you, Robbie. It's been a minute, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. How you doing? I mean, everything's looking good. Where you at there? I guess I should look with my glasses so I can really see.
I'm in Memphis.
Oh, you're in Memphis.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We played a show together here and I think somewhere in Alabama.
Yep, that was the which one was that? The State Fair.
State Fair, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool.
Yes.
Wow. So I didn't realize you guys had ties.
Yeah. So you that company, one of the companies you have, is that with Tony works with that, right? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been working with me now for about 10 years with Disc Live. And I actually met him when he was subbing down in Australia on Slash's tour, probably 2010 or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
A small world, right?
It is a small world. You guys rock too, man. The band was
dude, thanks, man.
Is legit for sure.
I appreciate that, man, especially coming from you.
Yeah.
No, like that thing you do with, like the double tap and stuff and all that. It's just like mind blowing.
Oh, thanks.
He's amazing.
I'm working at it.
Right.
So, Zach, I heard something about your band, and this was a quote we've stole from somebody, so I don't own the rights to this quote. Okay. But unique four-piece act that has the uncharacteristic capability of peeling your face off with their powerful wall of sound, but at the same time being able to melt your heart with their uplifting songs about hope and love.
There you go, bro. That's all. That's what it's about, man. At the end of the day,
melt. I like that.
Well, peel your face off or melt it or whatever you want to
Right.
call it. I mean, we do like to rock at the end of the day. I mean, we have a few songs that are, not super rocky, but we do have some heavier songs, but they're all real melodic and they have what I would like to say, at least, some meaningful lyrics.
Right.
To somebody.
Absolutely. So you kind of traveled around a bit. I'm going to take you back a few years, back to like Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yep.
You grew up in Arkansas and East Texas also?
Yep. Grew up in Arkansas and East Texas. I was only in Charlotte for about 5 years, and then grew up in my earlier years through my teens in Northwest Arkansas, and then ended up moving down to Texas after that.
Nice, brother. What part of Texas?
Pretty much mostly located in this part of the country, except for times that I've worked for Capitol Records or whatever when I was out in LA for a while.
So East Texas, man, you like it muggy and humid, huh?
Yeehaw! Yeah, it's extremely humid. I ended up moving down to Houston, and humidity. We played a show on the beach in a little town east of Galveston one time, and I remember packing up gear like 3 o'clock in the morning. Of course, this is like 25 years ago, whatever, but 3 o'clock in the morning and 100% humidity, no rain, but 100% humidity. And you could literally like wring your clothes and the water would like drip out of your clothes. That's how humid it was. That's the ultimate humidity.
So you're talking like Port Boulevard is where you were at then?
I'm sorry?
Port Boulevard? Is that where you were at, right across from Galveston?
No, it's called Surf Beach.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I live in West Texas.
Yeah. You from North Texas?
I'm in West Texas.
Oh, you're West Texas. Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
spent 14 years in Dallas, and used to commute back and forth between Dallas and Houston, and then would go back and forth, to Austin as well for gigs and things like that too. So yeah, I'm a pretty much employed at the end of the day.
Right. So you were in the Air Force for a while.
Still, yeah, I was in the Air Force. I'm not going to tell you what year, but I was in for 4 years. And it was actually was a cop, and I was on the EST team, which was like the SWAT team.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So it was interesting. I mean, I appreciate the time that I spent in the Air Force because I think it gave me the discipline that I needed to be able to do some of the things that I'm doing now, quite honestly.
Absolutely. I live right next to Goodfellow Air Force Base in West Texas.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know where you are. I was stationed at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, which it kind of sucked because when I was in training in tech school, all the guys were like getting all, they were putting in for all these exotic locations, and a lot of them weren't getting the exotic locations. They were getting some, crap hole somewhere. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pick just the crappiest, like Shreveport, Louisiana, and I like Shreveport now, in all honesty, but picked Barksdale Air Force Base, and boom, it was my first choice, and I got it. So, send me to Hawaii or something, but it didn't work out like that.
Right. Trying that reverse psychology, were you?
Yeah. It did not work. It failed miserably.
My son just went through that in the Army. They told him, oh, yeah, here's a list of places to pick. And he ended up at Fort Hood in Texas.
Yeah, well, Fort Hood, it's not bad. That's not a bad place. When I was in high school, we would go up there and drag race, so, we liked it.
Awesome, brother. So you have got a history, brother. You're an entrepreneur. You're a tech savvy kind of guy. One of the things I really, really like is you focusing on making sure musicians keep the rights and royalties and getting paid for their music.
That's really important, and, throughout my history of being an entrepreneur, I've been fortunate enough to kind of marry the two things that I love the most, which is technology and music. And, dating back to the early 2000s, I created technology to try to, give more power back to artists as well as new revenue streams. And I've always been, kind of concerned about how the music industry tends to put the artist last.
Yeah.
And, more recently with my current company, Venue, and that's VNUE.com. We're developing technology called Soundster, that, you know, and I'm sure you're kind of to backstep a little bit. If you, yeah, thank you. To backstep a little bit, caught me by surprise there, man. Thanks for that.
No problem.
But a lot of these like bars and restaurants and, you know, any place that has music in it, as you guys probably know, you have to have a blanket license agreement from one of the PROs like ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, typical. And, you know, well, the problem with that is a lot of places either play all original music where the artists just sign a waiver when they go in to play their own stuff because they're getting paid anyway.
Right.
Or these places may not pay or may not play, but a small portion of the catalog that you're being forced to get a license for. And I know this firsthand because I own 2 music venues in Memphis, and these guys would knock on my door. I mean, literally one time I had a dude with 2 fingers show up and basically threatened to, you know, I mean, it was like a shakedown, you know, and at one point I just had enough. And I'm like, you know, I've spent my entire life in technology trying to automate myself out of a job. And I said, there's got to be a way to be able to do this. So I started working on kind of my own patent design, which we're calling the mics, which would have been a device that sits in the venue and listens to music and identifies the stuff. And I started becoming real vocal about this. And especially because I found out that many of the artists whose music is being played, they're not paid for it. You know, these organizations capture about $1 billion of revenue, but you know, the 4 main ones in this country, and it's much larger outside of this country. And nobody really knows where the money goes to. I mean, we know that some of it goes to the major touring artists, you know, but Robbie, I'll use you guys as a great example. Like, you know, I'm not sure who the exact songwriters are on some of the Great White songs, but I can tell you that the large majority of any revenue that's being made from either cover bands playing those songs in bars or even you guys playing it on stage at your shows, you're probably not getting a royalty check for that. And that's a problem. You know, I mean, there's guys that have worked hard their entire lives and should be getting a royalty check every time that song's played. I mean, think about Mustang Sally, you know, played in every bar in the country
Right.
all night. And I guarantee that, you know, the estate of the writer is not making anything from that. So I got real vocal about that and started talking about it in the press. Ended up connecting up with this dude by the name of Aaron Buccarelli, who happened to be the drummer for Hawthorne Heights back in the 2000s and had some hit records and stuff. And he had found out that he'd been ripped off from the tune of about $500,000 because of the way these PROs operate and lack of accurate auditing of music that's being played on radio as well as in venues. So I was like, man, this is like nuts. And he had started a company because he'd gotten so upset about the situation called Soundster. And Soundster was basically, it was almost identical to the patents that I had, you know, the provisional patents that I had filed for my idea. I was like, shit, you know, these guys, you know, they're ahead of me, but it's exactly what we want to do. And Aaron and I got together, and it's like at the end of the day, we acquired the Soundster technology in 2018. And since that time, you know, we've been really working on it and improving it and creating some relationships where we can, you know, align really, really deep data that hasn't been available. You know, so our idea is now we can put these boxes into a venue or radio station. We're going to capture every song that's played, whether it's live or karaoke or recorded, you know, what have you. Identify the music and trace it back to the rights holders, including the publishers and the writers, as well as the PRO and the share of ownership the PRO has over that work, so that 2 things can happen. One is the owners of establishments and businesses that have to get these blanket licenses can now have a tool to go back to the PRO and say, hey, man, you're charging me so much money for this, but I'm playing 3 of your songs. And by the way, my venue's, you know, half empty most of the time. We're in COVID, you know, whatever. And the other half of it is now you actually have a tool that publishers and songwriters can go back and confront the PROs about and ask where the royalty revenues are, you know, that they've likely been missing. The ultimate goal is to automate the whole thing where it's an end-to-end situation where a song is played in a venue or the radio station. It goes into the system, and through a couple of different partnerships we have, we would actually issue the royalties directly without having to go through a PRO called direct licensing. So it's a monumental task, and we don't have any reservations about knowing it's a monumental task, but we're fairly far ahead of the game. We've got these out in beta testing right now in some radio stations, and it's going really, really good. And we are hopefully going to get more units out in a commercial basis later this month. I mean, our goal has been to have them out commercially by the end of the year, but we're almost there right now. But I think we will have some commercial implementations before December 31st.
Wow.
And I know that's a lot to listen to, but I'm real passionate about this because so many people are getting ripped off. And it's something that's been needed to be done for a long time. There are some upstart PROs like GMR and SOCAN in Canada that are interested in transparency. But what I found is that the ASCAPs of the world are not really interested in that because they have a big slush fund. 30 to 40% of their entire budget is spent on collections. And if you automate it, you don't have to spend that, but then they don't have to slush fund either.
Right. And I deal with that being in radio myself, dealing with ASCAP and licensing.
Well, and I understand that, a few of the radio people that I know, like one of our consultants, his name is John Madison, and John was one of the original architects that put together the Clear Channel conglomeration, back in the day that sucked up all the individual groups. But everybody I talk to in radio says that the second largest expenditure at the station is typically the licensing fees.
Absolutely.
And, between BDS, and Mediabase that do some monitoring, they don't capture anywhere near the amount of content that's being played on radio. And moreover, even if you play just like a venue, you might be a sports station and you might play 2 songs a month, but you still have to pay their blanket license agreement based on the revenue of the station. It's just totally unfair. So we figure if we can save even 5% of the cost of the licenses, then that's going to be a winning situation for most radio stations. And we actually think that we could probably save between 10 and 30%.
Wow.
That would be incredible because that's what's phasing out people like myself as DJs and on-air talent because companies can't afford to pay them anymore because of the incredible fees you're paying for licensing on these songs.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I'm a proponent of getting artists paid, but it's the same situation. They're not monitoring songs all the time. The reason that Aaron's song was completely missed is because the Cincinnati Reds used it for many, many years, and they may still use the song, and they're not monitoring when the song's played. So the song's been played a gazillion times, and he hadn't been paid for it. And
Right.
what we're trying to do is, if we're able to enable this technology, we think that by having an actual auditable trail of music that's played, we can reduce the cost, but also for the brick and mortar establishments and encourage other establishments to become licensed because we lower the threshold of being able to subscribe to that licensing concept.
See, I was going to ask about the BDS. So the BDS actually does not get every time something's spun. I thought it automatically registered when a track is spun, so you would know.
Yeah. So we actually we found that a certain percent of the time it doesn't get everything, but more importantly, is BDS is only in I think it was like 2,500 radio stations, if I'm not mistaken. And there's 14,500 radio stations in this country. So they're focusing on certain markets, but they're leaving out other markets. So they're really leaving they're leaving royalties on the table that a lot of deserving artists should be getting, but they're still charging those stations that they're not monitoring license fees. So that's kind of crazy, right?
And so what are they basically taking the money for themselves? Or are they splitting it up and kind of saying, well, I'll just use Bon Jovi as an example, got played X amount of times over here, so we're assuming he's played here where we're not monitoring?
Yeah, that's part of it. And then another part of it is, and this is the big mystery, and believe it or not, our CTO at Venue used to be with BMI. He was the CTO of BMI, and management would not share these numbers with him, even though he was a C-level executive. So a lot of it, mysterious algorithms that are used to give bonuses to, say, Taylor Swift's of the world or whatever.
Yeah.
But unfortunately leave the mid-level artists and even some more successful artists in the dirt. You know, they don't get what they deserve. And it should be a
Wow.
level playing field. If your song is played, you should get X amount of money, which could be prorated on revenue of whatever the station's bringing in or the business. But everybody gets paid for what they do, and that's the way it should be.
That sounds great. And I do have a question for you then. I'm curious. I've always kind of wondered what an artist makes per spin. Is there, I mean, it's got to be a super small amount, obviously, but I mean, is it based on a per spin basis? I mean, technically?
You know, there's no set figure that we've been able to find. But again, it's like kind of like if you're a nobody, you're not going to make the same amount as a Bon Jovi of the
Mhm.
world, you know, and it's a minute number. I mean, it's a fraction, probably a fraction of a cent, maybe a little bit more than a stream, you know, but a few cents maybe per spin if they're being, you know, monitored. If you're played on a station that's not monitored by BDS or media base, you're not going to make that.
I think they kind of go along with Armatron, where your larger markets are obviously going to be monitored more than your mid-level markets, your smaller markets, maybe your unrated markets.
Yep.
So, you know, unrated markets are your smaller, you know, demographics, 100 or less. They're probably not monitoring what's being played and how many times it's being played. Now, as a radio station, we still have to pay for licensing regardless to have the right to the song, but the artists are probably not seeing any of that in some of the smaller markets.
Correct. And that's sad. You know, it's not the way it should be. It should be when the song's played, the artist has a number, and that number should be paid to them.
So
And
back
that
what
should come out of that licensing fee.
Exactly.
back like 20 years ago, they called the smaller markets Gavin markets. I guess they don't do that anymore. This Gavin, and there was, I think it was Billboard. I worked briefly at a record label doing radio promotion, so I learned a little bit about it. But it was interesting because then you would see, like, at that time, Don't Speak was playing on most of the radio stations, probably 70 plus spins a week. I mean, unbelievable. You know, every radio station you would look and go, my God, they're getting so many spins. I mean, it's like every hour and 45 minutes you're going to hear Don't Speak.
Right.
I still hear that song a lot.
Yeah, I haven't heard it in a while, but
You figure even, okay, number one in Dallas right now is running, it's a classic rock station, and they're running a song depth of 450 tracks. So think about how many times those tracks are being played on a weekly basis. 450 and 3.5 minutes a song with imaging. I mean, you're playing each song at least 3 times a day.
Exactly.
You know, so there's a lot of rotations on those songs. That adds up quickly. And I'm sure not everybody's seeing what they're supposed to be seeing.
You know, and it's sad too that, you know, I'm probably like you are, that it's sad corporate radio has taken control over a lot of the playlists and the ability to interject new music in. I mean, we've been pushing our record now since the end of August, beginning September, and you know, we've gotten spins, you know, but it's like you have to really push to get them, and they're not very, you know, not as consistent as we would like to see that, because it's, you know, obviously it's COVID right now, so half the people are not even working in their stations, or working remotely.
Right.
But you know, our single Ordinary Girl, I mean, we have a good message with that, and you know, we're really trying to push that suicide awareness message with the song, and it's still, you know, I mean, the song was produced by Skid Mills, who has done 3 Doors Down and Saving Abel and a bunch of others, you know, so the production's there, the song's good, and you know, we certainly have a good cause behind it, but it's still like pulling teeth to get into, especially monitor stations.
You know, it is unfortunate. I'm fairly lucky, and I've got very little constraint on me, but I also break the rules a lot. I'm just gonna put it out there straight. You know, I work with you know, an affiliate of Jack FM, and then we have some other stations, and I've got a very fine-tuned playlist that comes pre-delivered to me, and you will play exactly what's on this playlist when it is scheduled to play, and that's it.
Wow.
And it makes it hard because you get somebody that has something like you do, or you want to give some rotations, or a local artist who's just cut a demo and wants to, you know, you want to promote it a little bit. and most stations, their hands are tied.
Yeah, it's
You
tough.
know,
It really is tough.
I kind of put the finger up in the air and say, I'm gonna do it the way it's supposed to be done, and I'm gonna be a DJ because that's my job.
That's awesome.
But
we,
yeah, I mean,
guys got
it's hard. Like Jody Best, she sent me your single, you know, and she's like, hey, can you get some sound on this? Can you get some rotations on this? Absolutely, if you're giving me a permission to do so, you know what I mean? So
I really, really appreciate that. And I love Jody to death, man. I'm honored to work with her. I mean,
she's
I got
fantastic.
to Jody through Lou Mann, who ran Capitol Records for a dozen years. And Lou actually works in my company Venue as well. So a lot of good relationships being built. And Jody's just, she's awesome, man. I'm very flattered to even be able to work with her.
She's great. She's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things you just brought up, the suicide prevention. I'm going to bring up their website here real quick, if you don't mind.
No problem.
It's something absolutely near and dear to my heart as well. Let's head over to right here. This is the AFSP.org, correct?
Correct. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And, you know, it is an important cause. And really what kind of got me into being very vocal about this issue, when I originally wrote Ordinary Girl, it was a long time ago, like 15 years ago, maybe longer. I wrote it because it was a young woman that was considering taking her life. And, you know, we were able to surround her with love and support, and was able to, you know, get her on the better track, and she ended up sticking around.
Good.
And that's what that song's about. And I ended up shelving it for a long time. And then 2 years ago, I had an employee at one of my venues, Rock House Live, who sadly did take her own life. She was only 28 years old, and it really just, it was devastating. You know, nobody, you know, of course, expected this. And, you know, we have a very small crew, very small family of employees, and it was devastating. And we had a, you know, put together a benefit about a month later called Don't Let Your Song Fade Away. And had some speakers that included some experts on mental health and, you know, some survivors, as well as some of those who had lost family members to suicide. And it was eye-opening. You know, I mean, I learned a lot from that experience. So I really started thinking a lot more about it. And, you know, over the next course of the year, I mean, I got busy with Venue, and, you know, we were working with Rob Thomas last year, and just got really, you know, I couldn't focus a lot on the music and, you know, any type of work like this. Well, then the pandemic hit, and everything just completely stopped. The music business stopped. We had a tour lined up with Matchbox 20 for recording that got pushed off till next year, and just everything just went silent, you know, in music. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, well, you know, I bet I know guys that don't have anything to do right now that might want to help me put a record together. So that's what we did. And the focus of that record was Ordinary Girl. And it happened, and very lucky about this, that it came to the point where we were going to release it right around the time of National Suicide Awareness Month, Prevention Month rather, which is in September. And we released the song, and Jody started working with Jody, and she introduced me to a guy by the name of Zach Martin out of New York, who is also a DJ and just an interviewer. And we were talking about this very issue about suicide, and he has lost some people that were close to him. And he said, hey, let me put you in contact with these guys, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So we did. We made contact with them, and, you know, found out how much good they're doing. And I decided, you know, look, you know, I'm really a believer in this cause. So we decided to give up 20% of our revenues from any digital sales and streaming. We don't have physical product yet, but we're planning on it, to the foundation. And, you know, and since that time, I've probably done, you know, 30 or so interviews like this, and have had the opportunity to discuss about how important it is to reach out to people that you think might be having dark thoughts. And even if you just a little bit think that that might be happening. It's better to reach out to them than not to, and then have them actually succeed in, taking their own life. So I'm real happy to be working with the AFSP, and I think they really do a lot of good for this issue.
And you know what? It's an important thing right now, because right now, with everybody being locked down through COVID, the numbers are higher. A lot of people, it's like, the cure is worse than the disease. More people.
Yeah, it's gone up quite a bit. And I don't have the stats right in front of me, but it's definitely increased during COVID when people are isolated and they're away from family, and some people don't have family. And then now you combine that with getting into the holiday season, which is traditionally a bad time for this kind of thing, makes it even worse.
Yeah.
So it's a bad time for people having these issues. It doesn't have to be, though, if we can recognize the signals that people might be putting off and try to prevent them from following through with what they're thinking about doing. And and I may not raise a whole lot of money with our songs or whatever. I mean, you make 0.006 cents per stream or whatever, but it's still worth it to me that even if I can give them a few dollars, that maybe I can save a life or two.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've had 3 friends in my life that I've lost to suicide, and one was in 5th grade when nobody took him seriously. And I'll tell you, after that one, after the warning signs and him actually following through with it, it woke me up to people who talk about it. Because before that, I thought, we all say it's weird things, and then when he followed through it, it was an eye opener. So it's definitely something that's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, I think the first time that it really hit me hard was when I was in the Air Force and stationed at Barksdale. There was a guy in our flight, and we were law enforcement flight security, and he was, and I wish I could remember his name, but he was a nice guy, but he was also, some of the other guys would bully him, just it's terrible. And one day he was out in what we call the conventional armament storage area, which was basically a big fenced-in area with a bunch of like bunkers that held, conventional munitions. And I was on duty, and we were trying to reach him and could not reach him over the radio. So we went out there in the squad car, and I was with my partner, and we were the ones that found him. He'd gone and sat on top of one of the bunkers and took his M16 and unfortunately, shot himself. And we found him. And that was, to me, I was only like 19 when that happened. And it was just, it was frightening, and just heartbreaking, and it lost a few more than that too, so it's just something that we need to pay a lot of attention to. Remember that mental health is not anything different than physical health, and there's treatments for that, and there are people that can help, and numbers to call, like the National Suicide Prevention Line, which I don't have in front of me either, but if you have known friends that have done that, then it's definitely an eye.
Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. We're all family. We all need to take care of each other, and that's what it's all about. I don't care how much money you got in your bank account, and I don't care how little bank you got in your bank account. We're all family and should be there for each other. So
that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
So speaking of money, not to throw a huge curve. How much you got to loan me? No, you sold a company to somebody with a lot of money by the name of Mark Cuban.
I did. Yeah. This was back in 2006. And it was the company was called Immediatech, and that's IMMEDITK, yeah, something like that. That's when I was really first starting pushing the disc live business of the live concerts and recording and releasing the content right after, which Robbie, we still need Jack Russell's Great White, by the way. But it's, we were creating these revenue streams, and it's no cost to the artist. And we started innovating quite a bit. And we had already done this big tour with the Pixies, and we've done tours with several other artists like Billy Idol, and we did a bunch of Edge Fest, shows in Dallas, and we introduced kind of the world's first direct pod content delivery system, where it would corrupt the library. We partnered with Billboard magazine and did a bunch of conferences with that. So we were really kind of, what I would say, getting more notoriety for what we were doing. And then we did the same thing, started introducing instant DVDs, where we would do a full, production shoot, but you could walk out of the venue with a DVD in your hand, fully produced and ready to go. And that's the point when that Mark took notice, and we were contacted by his financial guy, and he was like, "Well, we've got a guy interested in, potentially buying the company, blah blah blah." And all we had to do was Google the guy's name. We figured out it was Mark, and we're like, "Okay, we'll take a meeting." And Mark came in, and we met with him, and the meeting went really well, and we decided that we would accept his offer. I mean, it wasn't a huge amount of money or anything, but having him come in and express that confidence in the company and what we were doing was pretty exciting stuff. And he ended up buying the company, but then he's a very what would I say, he has a lot of interest in doing a lot of different things, and he ended up kind of changing course a little bit and became less interested in the disc live business, which was our focus, but more interested in structuring the public entity to be able to put some of his own interests into that. So I ended up negotiating a deal after the purchase where I could go ahead and continue doing this disc live thing, on my own if I wanted to, and ended up exiting the company in 2006. But it was a great experience because I learned a lot about how these acquisitions and public entities go when you're the one being acquired, because we had acquired a bunch of different little companies along the way, but this was a lot different, and it was really a super experience to be able to work with Mark, and I still stay in contact with him now and then.
Oh, cool.
Nice, brother. Nice. So Zach Bair Band, man, you guys are tearing it up. Let's look at your website. You all right with that? Let me pull your website up.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do here. Let me see if I can figure out what these buttons do. All right, Zach Bair Band. So this is ZachBairMusic.com.
Correct.
Now you've got your stuff on here. Actually, you've got streams here.
You did.
Now, are they paying for those or?
No, I mean, you can stream these on Spotify. You can stream it on iTunes Music, or you can download and actually buy the track on iTunes, and it's all over everything. It's all on Deezer and all these other ones I've never even heard of.
Nice.
But streaming services, you can listen to it free on that, and hopefully we get paid a little bit at the end of the day.
There you go. So they can come here to buy your music or check it out as well. ZachBairMusic.com. I think my assistant right now is looking up the suicide prevention hotline number for you. So let's talk. I got some notes here. I got to go back to my notes, brother.
No worries.
Back to the notes. All right. So Rock House Live, you partnered with the former Hard Rock Cafe president to create that as a venue, food, bar, restaurant, the whole 9 yards. Is that working out pretty well for you there?
Yeah, so just a little history about Rock House. I apologize, my chair keeps lowering itself. I originally created Rock House in 2006 when I was leaving Mediatek. And the first one I opened up was in Dallas. And I had that one for a couple of years. And then, it was breaking even. It really wasn't making money, but I knew the concept was solid. So I ended up closing in 2008, moved to Memphis where my mother, she was located in Little Rock, so it wasn't very far away. And flash forward to like 2013, in the middle of all this other stuff that I'm doing with Abbey Road Live, with EMI Music and Capitol Records and all this stuff. And a spot opened up that looked like it would be relatively, easy to get into. and ended up opening another rock house in Memphis, and then opened up another one in Memphis a year after that. And then flash forward again to 2016, I opened another one, a third one in Tampa, which unfortunately we had to close that one because they wouldn't pass the building up to code specifications. So I've got two of them right now. And then Jock got interested when he learned, I work with Jock in venue as well. He's one of my senior advisors, and he was president of Hard Rock Cafe International, and he ran a company and founded a company called TBA Entertainment. And this is exactly, Rock House Live is in its wheelhouse. It's a live music venue with great food. We're bringing in sophisticated technology, including Soundster, including our SetFM product from the other company, and we'll be streaming stuff live between different locations and whatnot. So it's directly in its wheelhouse. And we're very close to announcing the specific location of a new store in the Tampa St. Pete area. And once we get that up and running, we plan on trying to launch several other locations. We're already in negotiations for a location in Times Square. We're looking at a location in London, as well as Gold Coast, Australia. So,
wow,
we think it's going to be awesome. And it answers the need. The reason I built these venues is because I wanted to provide stages for, to support bands, and eventually, I want to have a bunch of them where, we can route a tour through the entire circuit and really be a musician focused, establishment, very friendly to artists and supportive. And most of the artists, you played my place in Memphis before, Robbie, with Great White.
Which venue was that?
Rock House Live.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was like right after we opened, maybe 2014.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
But it was a good time, and all the bands that come through there, like us, and we treat them well, and that's going to be the kind of the mantra for the entire corporation.
Okay, but I mean, how's it doing right now? Obviously, right now you can't really. I mean, you can't really operate. What's happening?
Yeah, it's hard. Like Memphis, we're open, but we have to close at 10 p.m. every night. We have to maintain 50% capacity, and there's other restrictions like wearing masks and things like that. So, we're always kind of a late night place, so we've lost a lot of business because of that, but everybody's having to do it. So we're still here. We're not obviously making the money that we were making before. We can't have really very many live shows. So what I found is, because of the pandemic, you can spend the money and do a live show, but you still have the same number of people that show up, even if you don't have music. So we're being really selective about shows. I mean, obviously we're having a New Year's Eve show and things like that, but it's really, really hurt the live music venue. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with NEVA and Save Our Stages, National Independent Venue Association, and Save Our Stages. That has been lobbying Congress to come up with funds for these venues that have been affected. Because, you're not just talking about, bars and restaurants, you're talking about venues with crews and lighting guys and engineers, and just everything's devastated. We're probably in better shape than some. I mean, and I hate that, because there's some places that don't do anything other than music. And those are suffering. And then of course all the bands, I don't know how much you guys have been playing, Robbie, but
not at all. We haven't played since February 14th.
Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. Everybody I know is in the same boat, and they're trying to do live streams and things like that, but it's not the same.
No.
Not.
And then I'm seeing venues drop off too. I mean, there's venues. There's a place called Chicago Bar in Tucson that have been around so long I can't even remember. It's gone. I was like, wow, that's sad to see that go. There's a place here in Hermosa Beach, the Saint Rock. It's gone. I mean, there's places just how can they possibly stay open? They can't.
I bet Sharky's.
What's that?
Sharky's.
I've heard rumors that Red Rocks is thinking about wrapping it up.
You're kidding.
No,
Devastating. That would be devastating.
right?
Actually, we recorded the Doors of the 21st Century in Red Rocks Amphitheater in about 2005. It was just incredible.
Yeah, I've probably done, worked, and promoted 200 shows on that stage, and it just breaks my heart to see that
Terrible.
that's even a question right now. You know,
It's just, I mean, I think, you look at our country and you look at a lot of the other countries that have been more successful in this, and, we Americans tend to be kind of hard headed sometimes. And unfortunately, I think the hard headedness is hurting us because, individual freedoms, I don't want to wear a mask, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, dude, you wear a seatbelt, wear a mask, dude, and, just doing simple things, wash your hands, put a mask on, and, social distance. And unfortunately, the actions of people who are not taking it seriously are causing all these shutdowns to happen. It's like when you have a parent that tells the kid over and over again to do what they're supposed to do it, and then they get sent to the room and locked up. It's kind of the same thing, And I think there's light at the end of the tunnel with a vaccine, but if people don't really take it serious between now and the time the vaccine's out, it's going to get a lot worse. I mean, we're already the most infected country in the entire world, and we have the most deaths and the most hospitalizations. And we're supposed to be the leader of the free world, and something's wrong with that picture in my mind.
I live in a town of less than 100,000 people. We average 150 cases a day and 10 deaths a week. And because of that attitude of, I don't want to wear a mask, or I don't want to, it just keeps accelerating. And Texas, Governor Abbott's of the mindset of, I don't really care how bad it gets. We're not going to shut down again. So,
and I call Texas my home state, and that guy's just an idiot. Well, he is. I mean, come on, man. I mean, do the right thing. And unfortunately, like in Florida, where I spend a lot of time as well, DeSantis, he's the same way. He's probably even worse. They don't have anything shut down, nothing at all,
yeah.
and no restrictions.
Yeah, I just wanted to go away, brother. That's all. I've got a stepdad who's dealing with some health issues, a mom who's got some breathing issues, a wife who's got immune disease issues, and
scary.
And I go out every day and I'm meeting with businesses and business owners and things to try to line up, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. I come home terrified that I might pass this on, or because if I get it, I'm going to soldier through, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I'm sure I'm actually positive I've already had it. Robbie and I've discussed this already.
I think I had it too in February.
See, same here, February.
I mean, I had a like flu-like symptoms. I had a slight fever and a dry cough, and I didn't feel very good. It was mild, but I was like, what, I might have the flu. I went to the doctor and tested the flu. They tested for strep throat and all this other stuff, negative on all of it. I'm like, he's like, here, take your antibiotics and go home. And I think that was probably COVID.
Same thing here, brother. February 15th, I got off a cruise ship, and February 16th, every one of us was in the emergency room.
Dude,
fevers, cough, couldn't breathe, and they tested everything, and they said, well, you're not 60 and you're not, in a nursing home, so we can't test you for this coronavirus thing at the time that they didn't know much about. Here's some antibiotics. We stayed sick for a month, and then we got better. I mean, it is what it was, but it's getting to a point now where industries are starving to death, and people are starving to death, and there's industries out there that are shutting down, like we're talking about with music and people putting people on the stage. I've got somebody coming up from Memphis, or actually Nashville, this weekend to do a show, just to come up here just to try to get out and raise some smiles. You know what I mean?
Awesome. That's really cool.
We're gonna put her in a van in the middle of the street where nobody can go around her, and she's just gonna play for free in the middle of the street to try to raise some smiles and holiday cheer. It's things like that we need to get back to. I mean, we've got to stop this. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care where you land on it.
We're all human. We're all Americans.
It's time to get our shit together and get back on stages and get back on the road. You know what I mean?
But just doing it smart, doing it smart. That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Be smart and think about other people. I mean, just care for your human. And then if we all care for each other, this stuff will go away.
All it is, brother, is just respect each other. Like I said earlier, we're all family. We got
Exactly.
to take care of each other.
Exactly.
All right, so
Family.
careful, you
I
get
got
blocked.
all my sisters with me.
So
Yeah.
Jody is actually in the audience. Hi, Jody.
Oh, hey, Jody.
What's going on, Jody? We love Jody.
I'm not watching
Jody.
Facebook or whatever. I'm just doing the Zoom, so I'll take your word for it.
Right. My wife just handed me a note. She said Jody Best is in watching. So hi, Jody. We're glad to have you, and thank you so much for this connection.
Thank you very much.
All right, brother. So let's talk about something here real quick. We've got instant live recordings that we were talking about. 15 years, you've produced live records all over the world with feature artists such as Peter Frampton, Slash, Rob Thomas, Seether. You produced The Awakening, Melissa Etheridge. You're a voting member of the Grammys.
Like it does any good, but
This guy wants one.
Who doesn't, right? I'll be wearing it around my neck every show. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, MediaTek, we acquired the original Disc Live, which is kind of the pioneer in this space, in 2004. And like right after we acquired it, we went out and did that first tour with the Pixies, and it was like 2004, and it was their comeback tour, and we were literally doing 1,000 double disc CD sets each night on this tour. And
Wow.
they were playing 1,200 seat rooms. I mean, we were selling out every single night. And
That's crazy.
we made the cover of the art section of the New York Times, and things were really taking off. And I'm just, there's something about being able to, record this show and have fans line up after the show and just be amazed that they can get this product immediately after the show's over. I mean, like literally within 7 minutes after the show, you got something in your hands. And, we went through several iterations. It was originally Disc Live, and then when I left a MediaTek, I ended up restarting. And you mentioned the Awakening. That was a video production I did with Melissa Etheridge, 2007. And then 2009, we ended up partnering with EMI and Capitol Records, and we launched the Abbey Road Live brand, which was basically my company contracting in a weird deal with EMI to do this business model. And ended up working with guys like Peter Frampton. We did 110 shows with him and did probably 60 plus shows with Slash. And we did Alter Bridge and Devo and Blondie and all kinds of other artists. And, the great thing about the business model is that one of the reasons we really focused on it is because it's a very artist friendly model, and there's no cost to the artist. You got to be big enough to fill some seats so we can sell product. But no upfront cost from the artist. We recover our costs through the sales of the product. We do the marketing. We partner with the artists' representatives and publicists and whatnot to maximize the marketing opportunity. And it's a great way for artists to do what they normally do, which is get on stage and play, and then have an additional revenue stream for really not doing anything different that they normally do. And with the advent of phones, back in the day, a lot of people were reticent to do this because they were afraid, it's not a studio recording or whatever. But that we're going out with these big 32 track, or 32 channel or 64 channel or even 96 channel mixing consoles, and splitting off the house sound and mixing for what you want to have in your ears, not necessarily a house. Quality is every bit as good as you would find in a studio mixed CD, but you would still find artists that didn't want to do it back then. But now, everybody's going to hold up their phones, and instead of watching the concert, they're doing this stuff.
Right.
And, a lot more artists are now willing to record it, especially because we've been around so long. We've worked with so many different artists and all the labels. They all trust us, and they know that we'll do a good job. And at the end of the day, if the artist is on a label, they can work out their own deal to split that with the label, and it's more revenue for everybody in the food chain. So it's a really great model. And believe it or not, we still sell as many CDs now. I mean, maybe not 1,000 or whatever, but we sell a good number of CDs at every show that we do. We went out with Rob Thomas last year, and we were selling a good 10% of the audience.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
nice.
And our average over the 17-year span that I've been doing this is about 15%. So some artists, like we did in the 21st Century, we sold 50% of the venue. With Slash, the first several shows we did one in Manchester, UK, 1,200 seat venue. We sold 1,200 discs, so
Wow.
even now, even 2020, people still like to have collectible CD physical products. We obviously do have technology called set.fm that is a mobile app that you can download from the app store that will allow you to get the content directly on your mobile device after a show, which is pretty cool too. But we offer basically the flexibility to give it to you digitally, give it to you on a physical product. We do USB drives. We'll do pretty much any format. We did a limited edition vinyl products for Rob this past January.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it. I love getting out there. I mean, I don't go to every show, but I try to hit, some of the more important ones. And I just love the fans. I mean, they love this, and it's taken home an experience they'll never forget, and they get to relive it over and over again. So it's just a really satisfying feeling.
That's so wicked cool. I'm one of those people. I'm old school, dude. I want something tangible. I want that CD or that vinyl. I love vinyl, obviously, but I really want to stay in touch with you because that's kind of the focus of this whole show. Robbie and I, eventual goals is to have our own venue, the Hangout Live, and a radio station where it's dial back radio, where it's, hey, promoting those local artists, promoting the local demos, promoting the people that aren't getting the airtime, and try to help them. And I mean, that is the eventual goal of this whole thing. So I'd really like to exchange information with you.
I need to give you a Rock House Live there, man.
That's it, brother. That's it. I'll come out there and check it out, dude. I'm serious. I love Memphis. I want to go out there and check it out.
Well, I tell you what, when you see, I can't tell you where in Tampa, St. Pete it's going to be just yet, but it's being built, and it's, Robbie, you've been at my place in Memphis. It's nice. It's not bad at all. This place is going to be the shit. I mean, it's going to no holds barred. It's not going to be huge now, but it's got a 4,500 square foot patio, and we expect doing most of the music outside. But it's going to be absolutely spectacular, and we'll feature just about every gizmo technology that we put in there in terms of music.
I definitely want to invite when it opens, man, because I'll be there.
Yeah, you got it, man.
Hell yeah, absolutely. All right, so we did find the number for that suicide prevention hotline. It is 1-800-273-8255. You can text or call, or you can text to 741-741 if you're having dark thoughts, you're having emotion problems, or you think somebody else is, or you just need somebody to talk to and a smiling face to listen to you. Reach out, man. It's worth it.
Yeah. There you go. Exactly.
Life's a gift.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, you guys have connections, man. I didn't know that. I'm disappointed I didn't know that.
Kept you in the dark. Well, you didn't call me all week.
I did not call you all week. You're right. I'm sorry about that. But Zach, I definitely want to get you back on. Robbie and I are going through a process with Twitch right now where we're working on some contract negotiations to put us out on Rams TV, which is Rock Against MS.
Awesome.
Fantastic organization, fantastic, charity. So that should be lined out here, Robbie, the next 2-3 weeks, somewhere in there?
I sure hope so, but you know how it is with the music business, hurry up and wait. So it's been going like this for a while, but I'll talk to Nancy. She goes, yeah, it's right there. Each time I talk to her, we're right there. I'm like, okay, all right, I know. We're patient.
Right. So once we get on there, obviously would love to have you come back on and talk more about this. If I've got your express permission, man, I'm going to put Ordinary Girl out there as many times as I possibly can and get some traction on it.
Make them drill it into their brains.
I will, brother. Trust me. I am that guy. Let's bring up your website one more time here. So they know where to go to find some of your goods. So this is the ZachBairMusic.com. And you can come down here and check out. They've got stuff right here. So if I push play right there, would it play?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll come through. I have no idea.
Oh, Oh,
Yeah.
Just a little teaser. Listen to that,
That
brother.
was awesome, man. Well,
Yeah, it's cranking. You should have played it. You should have let it play.
All right, you good to let it play?
Yeah.
Well, hey, just real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to my guys since they're up on the screen there.
Okay.
I want to shout out to guy on the left. His name is Jeff Ward. He's my drummer, and he's awesome. The long-haired guy, the only long-haired guy in the band right there, his name is Jeff Cobble, and he's fairly well known. He's playing in quite a few medium-sized country bands, as well as an epic rock band called Medieval Steel, which has been around, probably forever. Huge following in Europe. And then the guy that looks real mean and angry, who's actually a big teddy bear on the right, his name is Daniel Dwight. And Daniel is my secondary vocalist. He does all my harmonies, and he's also a bass player and founding member of the group Saving Abel. So I'm real proud of these guys, and I'm real blessed to have such a talented bunch of people making me sound better.
I must have his signature on my guitar right here, because this is a Saving Abel guitar.
That's awesome.
Wow,
That's
cool.
Daniel, hopefully you're watching this. If you are, buddy. But yeah, Absolutely. These guys are awesome. I feel really blessed to have them in the band, and looking forward to many years and hopefully getting a chart here at some point.
Absolutely, brother. It's a kick-ass band with a kick-ass sound. Zach, you good with me playing this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's rock out then.
Check it out.
Thanks, buddy.
Ordinary girl. Can't find my place, no need to stay. What goes wrong in life? Well, oftentimes it's right. She'll be fine one day, as long as she can fight. See a different side.
Oh,
Nice mix. It's good mix. I
yeah,
like
it sounds really good.
It's up in your face. You could hear everything's got depth. The drums have depth to them. Sounds really good.
Right?
That's Mills all over that, man. He's such a great producer. I was lucky to work with him as well.
So I will not be putting it on Jack FM tomorrow.
You will not be putting it on Jack M tomorrow. Jack FM. I'll tell everybody not to tune in.
Right. They can do that at jackandbowl.com, 103.5 Jack FM, rock in West Texas. And tune in, man. And we'll drop that in there and see what kind of traction it gets in the morning.
That would be awesome, man. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely, my brother. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, and good to meet you, and good to see you, Robbie.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Hopefully we'll see you again next year, maybe at one of those state fairs again.
Yeah, might be down in Tampa sometime at the new place.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man.
Or we got to do the Hangout Live concert too, that I'm going to promote. We might just have to bring Zach Bair up on that.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm sure my guys would too. Love it.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Zach, so much. Thank you very much, man. You're a very incredible human being, and we're glad to have you on our show tonight.
Likewise to both
Thanks,
of you guys.
Zach.
Thank you so much, man.
Cool.
Take care. All right.
Zach Bair.
Yeah.
Dude's awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
I dig
It's
him.
good.
Man.
It's good. Yeah, good inside knowledge. Maybe it's more like guys like us. We're kind of like, oh,
What?
Yeah.
No, he's got a really good soul about him. He's got a good heart. I like what he stands for. I like how he presents himself, and I hope for a relationship with him coming up because
Yeah, good
kind of on the
cause.
same timeline or the same, the thought processes that we are with the venue and stuff like that, and promoting bands and making it more about the musicians and the experience for not the fans, but for the family and friends. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I dig it, and I want to go check out his place. So thank you, Zach Bair. We appreciate you very much, and we'll have you back on the show very soon.
Yep.
And thank you, Jody Best, for all that you have done with us.
Thank you,
Jody
Jody
is responsible for bringing us a lot of talent here recently, and she's responsible for bringing us the guy we have next week, which is
Brian Wheat.
Brian Wheat from Tesla is going to be on the show with us, which is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I hear he lives in West Texas now, so maybe we can go and chill and hang or do whatever we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Without you, bro, because you're
Because I'm
OC.
quarantined to my house.
Yeah,
And then the
you-
week after that, for all you people, we're gonna have the whole JRGW band on here for a Christmas special. Jack, Tony, Dickie, Dan, myself as usual. And just I don't know, we're just, I don't know. Oh yeah, and Mr. Drake there. And I don't know what we'll do. It's just gonna be a Christmas kind of special. We'll just kind of hang out, talk, maybe have a cocktail or two.
Are you gonna wear your ho 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 suit?
I'm already wearing my ho 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 suit.
You know what? We got to bring Jess in for a minute, dude. We can't have a show without Jess, right?
Oh, okay.
Let's see if we catch her if she's at her computer. Oh, we got her. What are you doing, Jess?
I'm listening to this show.
So sorry we
How
didn't
are you,
get to it.
Matt?
I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm chilling and making fun and having fun and wishing you guys were off lockdown so we could all get together in Hawaii.
Oh, that would be nice, huh? Soon.
Right.
Soon, hopefully soon.
So
Hopefully.
hopefully soon. Sorry we didn't get you in tonight. That we just kind of.
Oh yeah, no, that's okay. I enjoy listening. I don't have to be working so hard and writing everything down.
Right. So, did we have any really great questions tonight?
Oh, we did. We had some questions from Jennifer and from Jay.
Oh,
Yeah.
we should have asked. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get them on the next one because we're
Yeah.
gonna bring them back.
Yeah.
I liked, he covered a lot of information, so I really liked all the different topics he talked about, and they were needed. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so versed in all of this. He's a venue owner. He's got this digital thing. He's got the recordings. He's a musician. He's fighting for musician rights. I mean, this guy's cool. I dig him.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. All right.
He
So,
was on the show.
absolutely. So, she's going to be here for JRGW too, right?
I'm sure she could take questions for the band.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I haven't seen them. We haven't seen them, right? I think Robbie's talked to them, but we haven't seen
Yeah,
them. So,
I haven't seen. Jack's the only one I've seen in quite a while.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I missed them.
I have seen the other guys, but it's been. I don't remember. I don't remember how long it's been.
Yeah,
It's
I
been a
mean, we get to see Dickie once in a while online too, and he does the Fam Jam.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool as
So,
heck. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll talk about that. So that's nice.
I dig that dude. He's so cool, man.
Yeah.
So cool, so cool. So I'm glad we're gonna have them all on. That's December 22nd for the Christmas show.
The
And then on
29th, the
29th.
29th, we're gonna have Rev Jones, bass player extraordinaire. He's played with a bunch of people. We'll talk about that with him, but he knows a lot of people. But he's got his own solo thing out, and let me tell you, it kicks ass. No kidding. And he's
Really?
singing on it. He's singing. He just sent me a video the other night, and I was like, oh man, I knew it was gonna be good. So I had to watch it right away because he sent me another video like months before that, and it was just really, really good. Or track, I should say, a track. Well, it's a video track, whatever. But of course, it kicks ass. I mean, he's got something that's going on. His voice is really super cool, kind of an AC/DC-ish thing. But then he was actually hitting some super high notes, and then just like some rip and bass and original sounding, super cool. We got to talk about his stuff. Get him on here and help promote him because he's the guy's legit.
So we got 3 big weeks.
What's that?
We got 3 big weeks coming up.
Yep.
You know when you air bass, you gotta slap, you gotta lick your finger and slap in the bass, right? Isn't that how you do it?
Well, it looked good to me. I wouldn't do it that way, but it looked, that worked.
Air bass.
I can't wait for his show too because it's going to be cool. We'll have to play his video if I don't know if we'll get shut down for playing it. We'll find out. But if you watch the video and you'll go, oh man, this is crazy. It's cool.
Right on.
It's really good. So
So do you like Robbie's haircut?
I do. It doesn't. Okay, so I'm gonna be straight with you, because the last time he got his hair cut, it was kind of like a Karen cut.
it's the same girl. She cuts it the same. It just
It looks better this time.
yeah.
So you had it really long there for a while, and I was thinking, man, that's really looking pretty good. And then you cut it, and maybe it was just the shock of the Karen thing at the time. Maybe it was the glasses with the haircut. I don't know. But I mean, at least you got hair, bro. I mean, mine's disappearing rapidly. You know,
Well, it's because you're wearing that hat. It's choking it all out.
bro, because I'm going bald, brother. I got bald spots. See, I'm even like I have no humility here.
No humility.
All
Yeah,
humility.
my hair will grow out fast. Usually a couple weeks after the cut, it looks better. But I mean, yeah, it looks,
I think it looks good.
Yeah,
she
I like
likes
it.
it. She
I like
likes it.
that.
So I guess it's more important that she likes it than you do.
Yeah, he came home and I was like, whoa, babe, you look good.
Whoa. Little PG-13 action. Right on. Well, I love you guys. Thank you so much for another fantastic evening. Robbie, we got to try to talk sometime.
Yeah. Are we doing Thursday night? Do we have a guest for
Yep.
Thursday on the cusp?
We do, and I'm going to talk to you about that here in just a little bit.
Okay, day.
And it's going to be a good show. So we'll be back
All right.
Thursday night with On the Cusp. And until then,
C'est la vie.
I love you.